I'm Tina Weller, the Serene Stamper, and you can find my blog at www.serenestamper.com. I have a neat technique today to share with you that I only recently learned myself. And it's so easy, but it's just really, really pretty. Whether you're a new stamper or if you've been stamping a long time, I think you're going to love this technique. And all you need are your basic supplies, your stamps, ink, and your paper. So you don't need to have a whole lot of product to make this really cool technique. Here are 2 cards that I've made using this technique, and the technique is called Smack Down. Now, I recently learned this technique when I came across an older issue of the Canadian Scrapbooker magazine, and Kathy Allen did an article on this technique called Smack Down. So basically, all you do is you take your stamp, you ink it up, and you smack it down all in one spot to create your background. And I did 2 videos on this technique because I wanted to show you how different your cards can look, but you're using exactly the same technique. So I have one video doing a masculine card, and I'm using the By the Tide stamp set. And then I have the other video doing a feminine card using the Blooming with Kindness stamp set. And this would make a great technique for a one-sheet wonder. If you don't know what a one-sheet wonder is, you're going to love it. You just basically take a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. It can be white, it can be vanilla. You just want a light piece of colored cardstock, and you cover that whole sheet with your favorite background technique, and then you set it aside, and then you have it there to use when you need it. It's a great time saver, and it's something I've done for years. And then you just cut up that piece of cardstock for cards, scrapbook pages, whatever you happen to need it for. So I'm going to be making some one-sheet wonders using this technique. Be sure to check out my blog as well, because I have a lot more samples showing this technique, including a Project Life page. It's my first ever Project Life page, and I must say I'm hooked on Project Life now. So all you need to do to find the samples is go to my blog and just type in Smack Down in the search box, and you'll find it that way. So I hope that my technique today inspires you to stamp some cards and have fun. Happy stamping. Okay, you are going to love this technique because it's simple, it's fast, it creates a wonderful background, and anybody can do it as long as you can hold a stamp. What that means is if you're a beginner stamper or if you've been stamping for years, everyone can do this. So I am using this great stamp set. It's called By the Tide, and it's an awesome set when you need a masculine card. And I also like it just because I love all things nautical. Alright, we'll set that aside. Now the base of my card is a piece of old olive cardstock, and this measures 5.5 by 4.25. Then I have a piece of our pool party that's cut at 5.25 by 4, and a piece of Whisper White that's cut at 5 by 3.75. This way they all line up really nicely inside of one another. So you know what, let's go ahead and we will adhere the piece of pool party onto the card base. I am going to use the new Fast Fuse adhesive that Stampin' Up! Carries because I want to show you how it works, because it's a little tricky. But the adhesive, the stickiness is fantastic. It's sort of between the snail adhesive we have and our sticky strip. So you're going to go nice and smooth, and then you're going to go off like a check mark. And that's all there is to it. And it gives a nice smooth line of adhesive. And I'm going to just put that onto my card base, and then that's ready for the focal point when it's all done. So I am going to grab our biggest stamp, and I'm going to start stamping with the pool party, because you want to start with your lightest shades and work your way up. Alright. Now this technique is basically just creating a background, and you're using your stamp as an applicator to apply the ink to your background, as opposed to just normal stamping and just getting your stamped image. So you're just using this to add the ink basically to your card. So I've inked it up, and you're going to smack it down and smack all around it. And you're going to keep doing that until all the ink is off the stamp. So you see how that ink is filling in the area there? Let's do it again. So we're inking it up, and we're smacking down. And you want to work in a small area at a time. Okay. This is not a technique you want to do when you're stamping late at night and everybody is sound asleep in bed. Do this during daylight hours. I'm just doing this until I basically have pool party all around my card. And I'm just smacking down until the ink comes off. Easy peasy. Cool, huh? We're going to move on to the next color. And I'm going to use some Coastal Cabana. And I'm going to use the same image. And smack down. And smack down. And this just starts adding layers of some different colors. I'm going to move on to my next color, and I am going to use a bit of Marina Mist. See how we've got all the different layers of colors on here? Alright. Now I have my old olive ink pad and I'm using the pretty script, and I'm going to put some of that on there. And again, I'm not doing it so much for the image as I am pulling the color into my paper. Smacking down. Alright, next I'm going to use my Mossy Metal for my fish. Mossy Metal is one of our new in colors. Now I know normally we think about doing fish in blue, but I love to fish, and I have grown up going fishing with my dad and my brother, and we would go salmon fishing and trout fishing, and they now go halibut fishing, but a lot of times there's a lot of green in the salmon. So I'm pushing down, I'm holding it a little bit longer, and I'm just smacking down around that fish. See? Pretty cool. Alright, we're going to do 3 fish total. So I'm going to do another one here. Smacking down. And then I'm going to do one more. Where am I going to do him? I'm going to do him as if he's just swimming onto the page. That is really cool. Alright. I'm actually going to go back into the Marina Mist because I want to put this shell in here. So I'm going to ink up the shell, and I'm going to stamp the shell right here like this and smack around. See, so that's really pulling in that Marina Mist as well. Maybe we should do another shell just because that was so much fun the first time. And I also like that Marina Mist really popping out a bit more too. And one more just down here because we need to work in odd numbers. It's just more visually appealing for the eye when you work in 3 and 5s. Okay, there we go. So the last thing this card needs before we're finished is an expression. This is a new stamp set from Stampin' Up. It's called Bravo, and it's a really big stamp set. It has 13 stamps in it, and you need your clear blocks to use these because these are photopolymer. Stampin' Up is making a lot more photopolymer stamp sets now, and these work really, really great. Like I said, you do need a clear block, and you also want to make sure you don't store your photopolymer stamps into direct sunlight because the light will actually deteriorate them over time. So don't be doing that. Put them somewhere where they're outside of the light. The hardest part is figuring out what stamp to use. But you know, one of the cool things about having these photopolymers is you can actually position them right onto your card before you stamp it and then determine if you like it or not and which one you want to use. I think, I love the script on the
You Did It. So I'm really kind of thinking I might just go with that. Alright, I'm going to stamp my expression in Old Olive because I want the ink to tie in the base of the card. And I just have some scrap pieces of Whisper White and some Pool Party. Oops. And I'm just going to stamp it down. I love the font on this You Did It. Okay, I'm going to just snip it in the middle and go from the corner to the center of that little first cut so that I can make my little thingamajig. That's the technical term for that. Right, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to snip in the center and then go from the corners into the center. And now I'm going to add my white piece. Okay. For the inside of my cards, I don't often show this, but I just take regular computer paper and I just cut them to fit inside. So I cut them to measure 5 1/4 by 4. And I usually only just put adhesive up on the top. And then stick that on. I'm just stamping in the corner just to tie in the images that are on the front of the card. So that will be my inside of the card. So there you go. That is called the smackdown technique. And I want to show you how to make another card using the same technique, and it's going to be using flowers this time. So we have a nice masculine card, and then we'll have a pretty feminine card. So check out my other video for the smackdown technique using flowers and a whole bunch of different colors. Thanks for watching and happy stamping!